Singapore got no beautiful sceneries one lah. That's because you don't know that we have a lake with trees underwater. And in this place, you can actually see breathtaking and rare animals in action. Well, let's find out more about that in our little red jungle.
Wow, look, now there's so many plants and animals.
Hey, hello. So, if you didn't know, back in the day, Singapore used to mine for its own granite locally, right? And it's used to build your first batch of public housing, right? And that's why in Singapore, we actually have lots of quarries all around. And we have since stopped mining already, but a lot of these quarries have been left there, just as it is from the good old days, right? And because this whole basin is made out of granite, water can't actually seep through. So, when rain falls, water keeps collecting and collecting and collecting, and now they have become lakes. And so today we are here at one of my favorite quarries, Hindhede Quarry, just to show you how breathtaking it is. So if you're ready, let's go! So the most scenic thing that you'll notice when you look into this lake, right, at least for me, are all these fallen trees that are underwater. And that's because the quarry is connected to Bukit Timah Nature Reserve, right? And so when dying trees fall into this lake, right, it remains there, right? And all you will see now is these layers and layers and layers of tree branches. Right? And I think it just adds a mysterious vibe to this whole lake, right? Like, how deep are these trees stacking down into, huh? It's such a calming view that really complements the rocks just opposite. And it's a calming view because even all of these terrapins, you see, they like to climb on top of these branches and just chill there. So as I've mentioned on this channel before, these terrapins, right, you see the ones with the red marking on the sides of their face, they're called red-eared sliders, and they're actually not native, right? They're actually even invasive. And nowadays, you actually see them in almost all of our water bodies. Because people buy them as pets, and then they just release into places like this, right? And what they don't know is that the presence of these red-eared sliders is actually affecting our native freshwater turtle species, right? Our own native species are getting lesser and lesser and lesser. All because the red-eared slider can outcompete them for food and habitat. And it's not just these red-eared sliders, these terrapins. Right, because even throughout the years, I've even managed to film species like, this Chinese softshell turtle, right, down here in this very same lake too. And okay, it's quite a sight, but to be honest, nature doesn't win when pets are released unethically. But okay, non-native turtles aside, they aren't the only animals here, because we haven't even talked about the birds. So with an open lake, of course you'll get to see a lot of diving birds, right? And some of them that you'll actually see around here are kingfishers. Like this blue-eared kingfisher over here, and wow, this one is one of the rarest species. Right, and also you have this stock-billed kingfisher, and this is the largest kingfisher in Singapore, and unless you're around water bodies, right, they are also pretty uncommon. But hey, I've actually seen both of them here on the same day. What? But okay, when you're here, don't just focus on the water to see all these diving birds. You can also look up, right? Because there's another fish-eating bird over here, and that is the white-bellied sea eagle. Why is he just cruising along? And this one is Singapore's largest raptor. Hey, wait, there's something moving in the trees. Oh, look, it's a green crested lizard. Okay, so I've actually briefly mentioned about this lizard in previous episodes before, but basically, the green crested lizard, right, it used to be very common in Singapore up until the introduction of another invasive species. And that would be the changeable lizard, right, which you see all the time nowadays. Right, and again, right, with non-native invasive species, it affects our own native animals, right? And so the native green crested lizard is now much, much rarer, even in our forested areas. But you know what? Today is so happening here at the quarry, and we are really lucky because it's just here beside us, at the lookout point. We're so lucky. And okay, also among the trees, if you hear this sound, you are in for a treat. Because look at this bird. That is the Straw-Headed Bulbul. Okay, so seeing this bird is really a treat because this bird is giving Singapore a very, very good name. And that's because this is actually a globally critically endangered species, right? And it is mostly due to habitat loss and poaching because of its, beautiful singing, as you also can hear. But so, right, everywhere else in the world, its numbers are really just decreasing and decreasing. But in Singapore, its numbers are actually stable. In fact, they are thriving, right? So again, everywhere else, this bird is unfortunately critically endangered, right? Decreasing in numbers. But Singapore is the last stronghold for this bird. Singapore. Right, and it's really all thanks to Singapore's initiatives and environmental laws that protect this bird and to ban it from our local pet trade. And as a result, about a third or even more of the global population is here in our little red dot, right? In our little red jungles, right? And I don't know, whenever I see this piece of news, I am one part sad that this bird is critically endangered, but another part of me actually really feels very proud to be Singaporean, right? And that we can actually just see this and hear this bird, just out in the wild, right? Especially, in a place like this quarry, right? And we really get to appreciate, these animals all while enjoying this spectacular view. Well, okay, it's getting late and as you can see, it's still a little bit drizzly, but today has been a really productive day out, right? And we even talked about a few topics, right? From, invasive species to unethical releasing of, our pets to even the protection of our rare and endangered, animals and species. And there is still so much that we can do to protect it, but Singaporeans first need to know what to protect in the first place, right? And by coming down to the quarry and seeing how all of nature interacts with each other, it gives you that perspective. And this place and this scenery, it's really a perfect setting to get in that peaceful headspace and to really appreciate what we have and to think about how we can protect what we have. So this marks the end of today's episode, but before we leave, I'd like to give a big shout out to our patrons. Mr. Chu, Sportman, no, Engler, HR Queen, Limperts, Muffin, Jets, Pinghu Master, Jablock, Tango, Amodelo, Neko Summer, Uncle Sam, Amelia, Fauzi, Waylenor, Crooked Spider, Low Eli, Big Three Circles, Amy, No, Quack, Mama and Momo, Pixel, Ama, and Purple Pepper. Thank you so much for supporting this channel directly, and if you would like to do the same, you can find the link to my Patreon down in the description below. Do also follow me on my other social media platforms and subscribe to watch more videos of our local ecology. Thanks again for watching, and remember, keep your eyes peeled because it is a quarry out there. Bye bye.